Hi everyone, this is Moni Castaneda, founder of Feng Shui for Us, creator of the 9 Steps to Feng Shui system. And this is my older son, Awan. We both have a wavy hair, as you can tell, and we struggle a little bit when the humid months start until we figure out what to do with our hair, right? Yeah. And so in this video, we're going to continue on this theme about wealth. I've been talking a lot about Feng Shui and wealth, and some of the blocks that people have when they're trying to grow their wealth. Many people believe that wealth is not good, that wealth will make you evil, or that wealthy people are evil. And this is supported. There's a lot of videos, lots of movies and TV series and books where the rich are evil or the rich don't end up well. And something that comes up with my clients and students is that who have kids is that they're afraid that if they give their kids everything, that they're not going to be able to do well in life. That is going to hurt them, that they're going to grow up entitled and unable to support themselves unless they're being supported by the trust fund, right? And so I wanted to share with you some couple of stories of people that I have known and how they ended up. And so one of them was my friend Santiago. And my friend Santiago, I come from Ecuador in South America. I come from the capital city. Now, in the capital city where I grew up, there was a lot to do for teenagers. You could really never get bored. But he came from a smaller city in the north of Ecuador, and there was nothing for them to do, for him and his friends to do on weekends. And so him and his friends, they would go vandalize property. They would actually go and get in their cars or get everybody in one car or one truck, and they would go vandalize businesses. They would break in and they would steal things and destroy things and stuff. And everybody knew who it was. Everybody knew the kids, his gang of kids got restless. They were all rich kids. If they got restless in the weekend, they would go mess up businesses, right? And so what happened was the business owners would just send the bill to the parents of these kids. They would itemize all the destruction they had caused. And so the parents of these kids, they would get the bills and add some money for pain and suffering. And that would be the end of it. There was never a report to the police. There was never an arrest. And there was a talking to, like the fathers would go and say, hey, you really have to stop doing this. That's not right, whatever. But there was never any serious kind of punishment, and they just got away with it. And so in a little bit, I'll tell you how Santiago ended. But I also want to share this story with you, thanks to my wonderful grandmother, she got me a slot in what was at the time the most prestigious girls' school in Ecuador, most prestigious Catholic girls' school. And so we had, our school had a name, and it was girls' school. And there was a counterpart school that was the same name, boys' school. And so naturally, my group of friends and we had a group of friends in the other school that we hang out with, and we went to parties there, and we did a lot of things together, and we were very close friends. And so there was this tradition that in a certain, either in your junior or senior year for the two schools, they would go on cruises to the Galapagos Islands. The Galapagos Islands, even though they're closer to Panama, they're actually part of Ecuador. And so they would go on these cruises and stuff. And so our friends were a little bit older than us, and it came the time for them to go on their cruise. Now, we heard it down the grapevine while they were going on cruise that all the cruise companies in the Galapagos Islands had actually banned any kids from the school from ever going on their cruises again. Yeah, completely. I can see you're shocked. And so we're like, oh, I hope it wasn't their class. And sure enough, when more rumors started coming down, it was their class that had done it, banned everybody from their school forever. They were actually banned for the next 10 years. And then we found out it was actually our friends, our very group of friends were the instigators, the ones that started it. Before they went on the trip, they had said they're going to party like crazy at the cruise, and they're going to throw the chairs overboard. And we thought they were speaking metaphorically, and they're actually speaking literally. So they actually got drunk, and they started throwing the chairs overboard. And did they see any consequences about it? No. Their parents, they gave them a stern talking. Nothing happened. And so I wanted to tell you how they ended up, right? And so my friend Santiago, remember Santiago is the kid that would go with his friends and vandalize businesses. These are some books by Santiago. The Wonderful Existence of Illness. This is a book that talks about how when you get sick, you're going to say, oh my gosh, no, this is a curse. But you should actually see it as a blessing because life is trying to tell you something about the way you are living. It's a very interesting book. It really changes the paradigm of how you look at illnesses. And this is his second book, Essential Food for Humans. And that's Santiago on the back cover right there. And so, wonderful book, about how to feed yourself and your family. Look at this, Santiago used to own a microbiota restaurant in Ecuador. That's where my husband and I met, actually, and amazing food, wonderful. So he became a business owner, author. He is a naturopath. People, he's gone to many places in the world to give lectures on natural health. And actually, people travel from all over Ecuador and all over the world to go see him. And he has helped people heal from illnesses that are considered incurable by conventional medicine. And people who had been told they're going to die, they have gotten better just with Santiago's help. You met Santiago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's how he ended up. So no bad consequences, right? And now our friends that threw the chairs overboard, they're doing just fine there. They have great jobs. They're doing great. They have beautiful families, beautiful kids. Now their kids can't get away with anything. Because when you've been a brat as a teenager, you know all the tricks. So their kids are even better off than that. The reason I want to share these stories with you is that I have, a friend of mine and I, we often talk about how our children are growing up in such a different environment to what we grew up in. And so, for example, for them, it's that whenever they need something, they get it. Whenever they want something, they might have to wait for a little bit, but they still get it. And we have been worried, my friend and I, that they're growing up entitled and they may not know about the value of things. And we have tried to provide for them experiences that would help them realize how lucky they are. But it has never produced the effect we wanted. They have, we took them to Ecuador to experience some of the poverty over there, because it's a developing country. My friend took her kids to inner city in another state where her children were helping children that were underprivileged. And so what happened is they see is, our kids see this, as you might see a documentary on National Geographic, but they're not able to put themselves in the shoes of the other people. And we're being concerned about this, right? But the truth is, the person can only have the experiences they have. Experience is not transferable. But the reason why people, the children of rich people, even when they are the worst brats, they tend to end up well. Why? Because they're wealthy, and wealth means access. And so the reason my friends, that were brats, your father was a brat too.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he also went to that school, but back then I hadn't met him yet. He was also going to that same school, but we hadn't met yet. But he was a brat. He was in all sorts of trouble. And now he's a chiropractor, right? He's beloved by his patients. And so the reason is that when you grow up in an environment of wealth, a common denominator of wealthy people is that usually they value education. And because they have wealth, they have access to that education. And just being more wealthy gives you access to everything. So all life areas improve. If if you think about it, like you think about career, if you have more wealth, you can have access to more training for your career. If you have a business, if you have wealth, you can more easily invest in your business to grow your business. And even in health, right? We've been, because of the elections coming up and everything, we've been talking more about politics and the way the different candidates address these issues with health insurance, right? But what was, we went to see Marianne Williams. And yeah, remember what she said about all that health insurance does? No. Well, she's talking about how health insurance determines who is going to end up paying for treatments.
Right.
But it doesn't actually, it's not preventive, right? It doesn't help you stay healthy. And so one of the things that we do, and many families like ours do, is that we use alternative healing therapy. So what are some of the kinds of things that we use?
Chiropractic.
Of course, yes.
Homeopathy, we use forms of energy healing like Reiki, you know.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of times we use essential oils. We don't really use those as much as the first three, though.
Yeah.
And just eating well. That's a huge
Yeah,
part.
that's a huge, and so, you know, when it comes to health, to be healthy, you have to have access to organic foods and to foods that are more natural, right? And so that's one. And also we have the body talk system, psyche, and all this cost money. You know, they're not cheap. And so for you, if you are like us, you know, like, well, like me, I'm the holistic sheep in my family. My husband is the holistic sheep in his family. Our whole family is holistic. But if you're like us, you know, like, even if you have the greatest insurance, that's not enough for you, because you want to get that acupuncture treatment, the homeopathy treatment, you want to get the better food, you want to eat organic, and you know, you want to be able to have all access to all these things. So wealth gives you access. And so if you're one of those people that have been afraid that if you grow your wealth, it's going to affect your children negatively, stop worrying about it, because the evidence is that most people that grow up wealthy end up well. Now, you know, in the reality shows, they usually are going to choose the most, the people are going to produce the ratings, you know, those are usually not the norm but the exception. So they choose the
narcissists, the mildly psychotic.
Yes. And so you cannot base your own ideas of what it is like to be wealthy and how to raise your children with wealth on what you see on TV, but rather on the principles of feng shui. Check below this video for a link to a free course that I have on how to grow your family's wealth using feng shui. So do trust feng shui, because feng shui has been around for thousands of years, helping families grow their wealth. And so one of the things that we've had trouble with, you know, was last Christmas, he didn't want anything, he didn't need anything. And we just didn't, as parents, you don't want to just give to one child and not the other, right? And so, but that's a good problem to have. It's a good problem when you have built your life in a way that you don't have to worry about the things that you don't have. You don't have to worry about lack. And as I had said in a previous video, when I was talking about, you know, wealth in feng shui is not equal to money. It's not equivalent to money. Money is a middleman, but wealth is the accumulation of physical property, the accumulation of skills, and the accumulation of connections. Who do you know, right? And so I encourage you to take the course. And thank you so much for being with me for this video. And if you have any questions, ask in the comments. And if you have had any experiences of knowing people who were very rich and misbehaving, let us know what happened, what was the result, or if you were, when you were a teenager, if you misbehaved, let us know what happened. Bye-bye.